Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Happy US Independence Day. Of course, it is the 4th of July, and Gaijin is doing some little discounts to celebrate it. So basically, they are bringing back a bunch of different vehicles for a few days, basically until the 7th of July in the American tech tree. There's 3 premium vehicles that are going to be on offer, so I thought we would have a look at them. And also, at the same time, there is a decal that everybody can get. All you got to do is play 3 battles using US vehicles at rank 3 or higher, and you can get yourself the US Independence Day 2025 decal. This one looks kind of cool, a bit generic, but generally I think it looks quite nice, and nice to see that they're celebrating the Independence Day since they missed Canada Day. But then again, they did do the Canada Armed Forces Day stuff with the Wonderful Moments of Valor video, so that was really cool, and now we get to have some more discounts in the game with some returning stuff. So the 3 vehicles that are returning, we have the M26E1, the F86 F35, and also the P38K. So I thought we'd have a look at them all and review them for you. When it comes to buying GE, if you want to purchase it on the Gaijin store, you can actually use my partner link, and anybody can do it. PlayStation players, Xbox players, or even PC players, obviously. So you can use the link, you can get the decal, you can get some discounts, and also support the channel at the same time. It's a pretty good deal. As always, if you enjoy the content, make sure to subscribe and also like the video. Let's have a look at the returning premiums. The first vehicle we're having a look at is the F86 F35. This is the Sky Blazers Premium Sabre, and basically it's just a copy, or well, not a copy, it's slightly different than I suppose the F25 in the tech tree, but the differences really don't matter. So if you've had experience with this, the F25, you basically played the F35. The F35 had some interesting capabilities in real life that aren't really represented in the game, such as some nuclear armaments, but generally it is basically just the same vehicle. So what you get is you get the 650 cals. A lot of people don't like the 50 cals in the Air Forces around this BR. I enjoy them. Basically, you have the traces, which have the APIT. This means you have a high velocity, high rate of fire M3 50 cal, which whenever you hit targets with it, it may not always destroy them, but when it comes to jets, even if you maim a target, you just take away so much of their performance, you basically win the battle anyway. And these guns, with their high velocity, make it so it's quite easy to do so. You also have the General Electric J47G27. This one gives it enough power to push it around the place, and also at the same time, they made it so it's a little bit easier to actually fly it, even with the boosters attached. So one of the things about the Sabres, this is for the Sabres, this is for the G91s, and this is also for a few other vehicles. You have to be a little bit careful when you're turning with the elevator, and also turning, like rolling with the ailerons, because what happens is your wing can sometimes fall off. So sometimes it's actually better to uninstall boosters on this thing if you're uncomfortable with working out when to turn when it comes to the speed of it. This vehicle got moved down to 8.3 alongside the MiG-15 BIS, and that basically means that even though you're still in that 9.3 bracket, which is really strong for certain nations, such as America, you still most of the time will face stuff which is around your BR, and you'll be able to dominate it. The F86F's only predator really is the MiG-15 BIS, or something like the MiG-17, and it's actually a really fun matchup against it. It's not like one is out and out better than the other, they're just better at different things, so it's generally quite nice to actually fly. Now, also, since you have that really crazy 9.3 area, luckily, America has the craziest 9.3 vehicles and also 9.0. So basically this means, even though you have to deal with crazy vehicles, you also get to do it in a tech tree which is supported by them. So you can usually make it, work for you. At 8.3 as well in ground, you do have a pretty crazy lineup too, and this thing can get 2 1,000 pounders, which is quite nice, and then also a bunch of rockets, but I don't really put a lot of faith in the rockets. The 1,000 pounders give you kind of a guaranteed kill, and the only thing you got to watch out for is guided AA. But at 8.3, you have a insane lineup. You have the XM800, the Bradders, you also have the M60A1 AOS, the T95E1, the XM246, the M60A2, the Wally, and also you have all the other vehicles you could bring along as well. So yeah, it's just an insane lineup to bring for this vehicle, and well worth it as well. I'd actually say the F-35 is in a pretty good place right now, since they didn't put on sale the F-5C, which is usually the one to go for when it comes to these types of things. I actually don't think this one's in a bad position. It is at rank 5, so it's a bit low in terms of what you can research. You know, you can only research rank 6 and below, which leaves out, you know, all of these vehicles. But if you're new to the tech tree and also want a pretty decent vehicle to kind of wander around with, I'd definitely say the F-35 is worth having a look at. The P-38K is more of kind of a collector's item than anything else, I feel like. There's so many premiums around this BR for America, which are all really good. So mainly you have like the 5.7s, which are like the Spitfire, and then also the P-47s, which are really good. You even have things like the AU-1, the P-59A, and obviously the P-51D 20NA, which comes back all the time, even in this recent summer sale. It's turned up. But the P-38K is one that I can't remember the last time we actually saw. So it might be worth picking up if you are a collector. So, you know, you can kind of have it in the collection. Now, the P-38K has access to some insanely powerful engines for 5.3. You can see here they have 1,854 horsepower on its takeoff power. It also has a really interesting gun layout where it has a 20mm in the center. And then it has, of course, the 450 cals as well, all centrally mounted, so you don't have to worry too much about convergence, which is really good. And then also you have access to some other stuff, such as a G-suit, which you don't usually get at these BRs with a lot of vehicles. This means that you can turn a lot harder than many other vehicles without blacking out, and also you get engine injection to be able to get this vehicle moving. The only issue is you don't have any secondary armament, so you don't get any bombs or rockets, so this is strictly an air superiority fighter, which, you know, is fine. I think generally not every vehicle has to be a multi-purpose one. This one can just be what it wants to be. Now, the P-38K has a ridiculous rate of climb for a vehicle, but the problem with the P-38s in general is what you end up having is, since the meta, especially when it comes to War Thunder, is more kind of get up to an altitude and then dive down and hammer things, these P-38s, which you find over here, and then even earlier in the tech tree, like here with the weaker engines, and of course the P-38K can have a bit of an issue, because what happens is they get to altitude, everybody dives down, and then you have to dive down after them, and regaining speed is a little bit harder to do, and they usually beat you in the turn fights. So you have to loop, use this, the massive elevator on it, and then try and balance the rudder out while you try and get your guns on target, and it can be a little bit more annoying to do. But luckily you have 2,000 rounds of ammunition, so you can do it pretty effectively. I just wish that it was a little bit more controllable when it comes to its rudder when getting the guns on the target. So it can leave you a bit high and dry compared to other vehicles, which are a little bit easier to play because of the tail. But I generally think that the P-38s are really, really enjoyable to fly. They are very much underutilized when it comes to the game. And to be honest, it's really surprising to see the P-38K back because, as I said, it's usually not here, which is kind of fun. If you compare it to something like the P-38LO, which is right here, the major differences between them are the fact that the LO gets access to stuff like these, so you can actually bring some secondary guns, and then also some 500-pounders and HVARs too, which is kind of fun. But the premium one is still useful in its air superiority role. And then we have the M26E1. This is basically a standard M26 that you can see here, but it has a slightly longer gun. Basically, this vehicle uses the T54 cannon, whereas the standard M26 at the same BR uses the M3 cannon. Technically, the M26E1 at the same BR is just an upgrade of the M26. But the M26 also shouldn't be at this BR, because another vehicle is also at this BR, the T26E5, which is just a better version of the M26. So the M26E1, being a better version of that, shouldn't really be surprising. So this vehicle at 6.7, you get access to some interesting shells. Basically, you get the T41 shell, the APC-BC. This one can pen the front of Tiger 2H's just. You also have the HVAP shot, which can go straight through them, which is quite nice. So basically what you get from this vehicle is just extra penetration, extra damage compared to the standard M26. Everything else is basically the same. And the mobility, the armor, everything like that. So I generally don't recommend this one because America already has such a strong 6.7 lineup that you can bring along. You have the T26E5 that we talked about. You have stuff such as the M56, the M50, the T34, and then also you have a bunch of other kind of heavy event vehicles / premiums that are around the place. The M26 T99, which I'm pretty sure gets an ammo box, which is kind of funny. And then also you have access to the, these two if you can get access to them. But if you really enjoy the 6.7 lineup and you want, I suppose, a premium vehicle with it and you don't have one of the event vehicles, I mean, it's not a bad shout, but I just feel like there's already such a fantastic lineup here for it. There's not really a need for a premium to get you through it, especially one which is at rank 4, so it's only going to efficiently research rank 5 and below. If you're going to look for some kind of premium to purchase, I'd probably go for the T29, since it has all of the great stuff of the T34, but also it gets the nice penetration of the T5E2 round, which gives you 253mm of pen, which means that you can easily pen Tiger 2s, whereas this gun just pens Tiger 2s with how it works. So you do get the 50 cal, which is quite nice. You do get the okay mobility of the Pershing chassis, and then also you get the okay survivability of it. But generally, this vehicle is not going to be great. It's not going to work well because there are just much better vehicles which have much better playstyles than it at the same BR in the American tech tree. Just play the other 6.7s and you'll have a much better time. As always, let me know your thoughts. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank GMG Smiley, CD Beans, Chieftain Mike, EMN3 Galaxy, Tulio Pontecorvo, Brendan Quinn, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Wartinder, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, B. Young, Ozzy Panzer, Alan Hacker, Liam Shear, Opium Prime, Lafouche, Sem, Aslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R. for supporting the channel.